Namaskar, a very warm welcome to CIET NCERT's live phone-in interactive program. I'm Tanvi Khurana and this is an English class for all the students studying in class 6th. And the topic that we are going to discuss is Hamara Bharat, Incredible India. There's a lot to know, understand about India, but what are we going to discuss in this particular program? Only our expert knows, and he'll share each and every detail with you. You can see on your screens we have a sign language interpreter. Let me please introduce her to all of you. We have with us Neetu. Neetu will be discussing each and every word that we'll discuss, and she'll interpret in the sign language for you. So if you have any questions, any queries, please feel free to reach out to us. You can call us on our number, that is 8800440559. And if you want to email us, the email ID would be dth.class6@ciet.nic.in. Apart from this, if you are watching us on PME Vidya channel number 6 and also on our YouTube channel, that is NCERT official, then you can write down your questions, your queries and share them with us. Now let me please introduce you to our guest for this program. We have with us Dr. Amit Ranjan. Sir, a very warm welcome.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Sir is an assistant professor of English from CIET NCERT itself. So let's begin this conversation on Incredible India. Sir, India is huge, there's no doubt in that. So what are we going to highlight in this particular program? Its history, its origin, its people, languages, what?
So it's an overview of everything for our students, so that they can dig deeper on their own, and this is just guide. And so it's in our class 6 textbook, Purvi. In unit 5 we have this section called Incredible India or Hamara Bharat. So it gives an overview of our incredible history and geography, diversity of people and everything in very short. But this is just to sort of introduce students to the amazing land that we live in and the blessings that we have. And apart from that, we have 4 specific handicrafts that are mentioned in this chapter by 4 different students, and that's also just a sampler, because there are thousands and I'd say millions of different kinds of crafts and handicrafts that we have in our country. So this is just a sampler for our taste buds of culture, let's put it that way. So it'll hover around what the chapter says, and of course digress suitably to for more context for students and some extra information as well. So of course we all know that India is incredible with different kinds of architecture, landscape, art forms and so on. In the picture you can spot various things and try to name them, what these different things are in the picture. So our chapter talks about the fact that people have been fascinated with India since time immemorial. And historically speaking, the connection of India, the connection of people of India with the rest of the world is ancient. There was ancient trade routes between Egypt and the Malabar coast, and even prior to that, one does not know. One can see it say in the songs of Banjaras, who are known as gypsies in Europe. They have common songs, common words still. So there's been a lot of interaction with the world, and the world has always been curious about the land of India, and there have been very famous visitors to India in ancient India in the medieval times, who have written comprehensively and copiously, compendiously about India. So the 2 most famous visitors of the ancient times are Fahian, who was a Chinese Buddhist monk in the 4th and 5th century AD, and Huan Sang is another Chinese monk who came in 7th century. So they have written extensively, and we get a very good glimpse of life in India at that point of time. Huan Sang even visited Nalanda. He also took mythologies from here, and they were adapted to, in fact, Buddhist mythology in
Okay.
China. And later, there are famous medieval visitors like Ibn Battuta, Moroccan traveler from 14th century. And now there's a very famous song also about Ibn Battuta
Yeah.
in one of the recent movies. There's Marco Polo. And so the Europeans come later. And before that, there are already these Chinese and North African visitors. And of course, the Europeans start coming from 15th century onwards, and the Portuguese, the French, English, and so on. So there was always a fascination about knowledge in India, because it was almost in the 17th century the knowledge capital of the world. And in fact, Dara Shikoh translated 56 Upanishads, and that went to the West, and they grew very curious about ancient Indian culture, and so on. And also the other interest was because India is tropical and there's so many spices that grow over here. There was deep interest in spices, and all the colonizers who came actually came in search of spices to trade, to make themselves wealthy. And that's how gradually the colonization happened. So you would like to look into who all traveled to India, who are the famous writers in different periods. And so of course Indian history is rich as gold, and you're in grade 6 right now, and by you will study about different periods of Indian history. So there's ancient civilizations. We know of the Harappan Valley civilization, the Mohenjo-daro, which is called Indus Valley civilization, which is considered one of the oldest civilizations of the world, along with Egypt and Babylon. It's arguably more than 4,000 years old. And there are very elaborate systems of different things in Indus Valley. The systems of sanitation. There's a great bath in which people took community baths. The roads, the streets were lined east to west, so the winds could carry the dust away. All kinds of things. They also were majorly into pottery, worship of Mother Goddess, and so on. And thereafter, this civilization was lost due to some reason. There are various conjectures about that. And then there are the great Mauryas, and then there's King Ashoka, who spread Buddhism far and wide, who spread his message of love and peace, not just in India, but across to what is now Sri Lanka, and then Southeast Asia, like Cambodia, what is now Singapore, Thailand, and so on. And the Guptas, and that's known as the Golden Age. There's a lot of peacetime progress happened during that period. And then there's the medieval period with Delhi Sultanate, the Mughals, during which time Taj Mahal, Red Fort, etc. got built. And then there's the resistance to British colonization after the British took hold of India around 1857. Then there's the freedom struggle, which was led by Mahatma Gandhi, leading up to our independence in 1947. So that's quick overview of a million things, let us say. But so our chapter quickly glances at all of this, and also emphasizes on the tremendous diversity that we have in our country. So officially we have 22 major official languages, and there are hundreds of dialects, but it is argued that there are hundreds of languages, not just dialects. That argument between various groups remains, but because the history is so rich and a continuous history of about 5,000 years, so one can imagine different regions having their own languages, their own culture. So the richness in terms of what one can learn by reading different literatures in different languages is mind-blowing. It will require a few lifetimes to study all the literature that comes out of India. In terms of religions also, today we talk about globalization, multiculturalism, and so on, but India has always been multicultural. We have sort of the longest experience of multiculturalism, of people of different faiths living together. and all the major world religions are present in India.
True.
There's no other country which can boast of this kind of syncretism, this kind of secularism. So we have Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism and Sikhism. These religions were born in India. And apart from that, all other major world religions like Christianity, Judaism, they're practitioners, the Parsi religion, they're practitioners of all these religions in our country. And geographically also, it's not just vast but incredible that at this given point of time, it's raining somewhere, it's hot somewhere, it's snowing somewhere. So we have all seasons present at all times of the year, interestingly. And it's snowing in the north right now, and it's kind of hot and raining in the southeast, and so on. So it's always very amazing and incredible to study any of these things, the languages and literature, the religious practices, the cultural practices, the geographical spread, and the different kinds of climatic zones and weather conditions we have in India. It's a continent unto itself. It's called a subcontinent, but it's almost like a continent. All right. So our chapter roughly skims over these facts, and of course it's very difficult to summarize these things in a small chapter. That gives you an overview so that you get curious and so that you dig in more and learn with the help of your teachers, with your friends, with your parents, and through books. So our chapter also talks about different kinds of art forms, tangible art forms. So there are two kinds of art forms, tangible and intangible. So tangible ones are the ones that you can touch, see, and intangible are those like dances which you can see, which you can feel, but there's nothing in material to show for it. So we are talking of tangible art forms over here, and 4 of them have been mentioned in our book. So it starts with Aipan, which is a folk art form from Uttarakhand. So this is artwork that is done on the walls and floors during festivals and family function. And as you can see in the visual, it's white, so it's generally white rice flour paste, which is used to paint on brick red walls or floors. So the red color is obtained with geru, which is also a traditional material. So everything that is used in this is traditional material. And you can see that you would see that there are resonances of this across all cultures. There's rangoli that we do on various occasions like Diwali. And so every different region in the country has different forms of painting on their walls. There's Gond art amongst the Gond tribes in Madhya Pradesh, for example. There's Bhil art in Rajasthan, and so on. So every culture has their own way of representing themselves through art on their walls, and also now there are several books that you can find these in. The key feature of Aipan and what kind of distinguishes it is that these are mathematical designs. So they are geometrical designs. They could be octagonal, hexagonal, may have 16 sides, and there will be mathematical calculations involving the symmetry, the angles, and so on. So on the one hand is mathematical calculations which make it highly attractive, because you will get very attractive symmetrical figures out of it. And at the same time they also use the observations of nature quite a lot. So all the interaction with the flora and fauna, the trees, the animals that they interact with, how life in villages gets affected with this interaction between nature and human beings, and all of that. And earlier it was made by women of the family, but now it's pretty much made by everyone. Everyone is excited about it. So when you go to, when and if you go to Uttarakhand, look out for Aipan on walls, and maybe have a chat with the family members about how they do it, maybe learn it. So that is one of the folk arts that is mentioned over here. The second one is quite different and very interesting, which is dhokra, the metal craft of Odisha. And this is argued that this is almost 4,000-year-old metal casting technique. While we think in terms of metal work and so on, only in the industrial time in the last 200 years, and then we think of earlier societies doing iron work and so on. But this is arguably as old as the civilization this country is. So the technique that they use is called lost wax casting, in which a clay figure, so for example in the pictures you can see these musicians, one playing a drum, one playing a wind instrument and so on. So what they would do is first make a clay figure of, let's say, this musician, then cover it with wax, and then cover it with clay again, and then you heat this structure, so the wax melts and the wax flows out through a little hole, and then you pour molten brass into this mold, and the result is these beautiful figurines. So this is amazing sort of ingenious method, and to have it have this kind of engineering 4,000 years ago, and to have continuity of it across time and culture is just amazing. So this is very rich heritage, and when you go to Odisha, you must have a look at the dhokra metal craft, and also maybe participate in a workshop, see how it is done, how this cast is created, and how as you can see, it's very fine work. You can see that all the nose and eyes and the detailing of the apparel of the musical instruments is very fine. So the clay figurines that are made and the kind of amount of wax that would be used to retain the fine details, all this is very fine craftsmanship and highly commendable. And,
Absolutely. But I just want to ask, so this was 4,000 years ago, and this has been passed on from generation to generation, and still it's
Absolutely.
active.
It's still active, and it's incumbent on us, it's our responsibility to keep it alive in despite the onslaught of industrial material, where there are lots of factory made products that come for much cheaper now. So it's our responsibility to encourage local artists and craftsmen to keep this tradition alive. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
many of these are in danger of extinction, because people compromise and think that they'll buy slightly lesser quality for much cheaper price and so on. So we have to keep that these are part of our tradition and culture, and they're very deep rooted, and it's part of our pride. So we must support local craftsmen always, and try to buy these amazing handicrafts and stuff from local sources. So there are two more crafts that are mentioned in our book. One is the coconut shell craft of Kerala, which you might have seen in a lot of places, where coconut shells are used to make figurines, toys, and it's amazing. So it's not just so here there's an example of a monkey made out of coconut shell, but different kinds of household items and even jewelry is made from coconut shells. So first the coconut shell is cleaned and smoothed out with a sandpaper, and it is shaped according to what our imagination is, fixed with a base, polished, shine. And the plus point of this is that this is entirely biodegradable, like other things. With time they are biodegradable, so they are never a pollution hazard for us.
Wonderful. Not just monkey, any household items can be
Absolutely.
created.
There is
with
lots of
this
jewels
coconut.
also that are
Wonderful.
made over here.
Okay.
And then we have Kondapalli toys of Andhra Pradesh, and this is also a very old tradition dating back to 400 years old. So sometime in the 1500s, 1600s, this tradition started. And so the soft wood from nearby hills are used for this, and interestingly the pieces are joined not using glue but a paste of tamarind seed powder and sawdust. So this is also entirely nature material, and there is no synthetic material that is used in them, and these are the kind of things that are very important to keep in mind in a time when we are bothered by climate change, by plastic, by all the industrial material, by polythene, by synthetic material. We have to learn from our ancestors, foremothers and forefathers, of how to use materials available in nature to do this. Of course, it's a little more painstaking, but it's very useful and also good for our future. And interestingly, these toys are not just about having any kind of toys, but they use all kinds of folk stories, animals, birds, rural life. So they are part of the storytelling tradition of the villages of Andhra Pradesh. So they are not just toys, but through these toys, children learn about their own history, their own memory, their own beautiful stories. They are also painted with vegetable dyes and oil and watercolors. And similar to Kondapalli toys, there is Chennapatna toys in Karnataka, which are also famous. So so these are the four that are there in our textbook, but you would be aware from your own region of the different kinds of incredible artwork, handlooms, handicrafts, toys that are made in your own region. And so children, you should inquire about your own region, what all is made, whether toys are made, whether shells are used, or whatever. These are just examples from 4 different regions of India, and of course India is very rich with all these kinds of things, as we have already discussed.
Absolutely, and I think maybe people or students can visit these places and explore on their own.
Absolutely, and schools should also take initiatives for field visits to these places and see how these things are made, and be told stories about the tradition through which they come, and all the storytelling that is done through toys and stuff like this.
Thank you so much, sir, for telling us that how great India is, and there are so many things, places and culture or history to be explored in India. Some things are explored and some things are still unexplored. Maybe our students can take the initiative for that. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you to our sign language interpreter as well. Thank you, Neetu, for being with us today. And thank you to all the viewers for watching this particular program. I really hope that you enjoyed. And if you are into exploration, if you are into learning, then do read this chapter. If in case you have missed watching this program, then you can watch it again on NCERT Official. That is our YouTube channel. With this, we are wrapping up this particular program, but don't go anywhere. We have a series of programs lined up for all of you throughout the day. Here is the schedule you can see on your screens. The next program coming up is also for class 6, and it's a social science program जिसका विषय है भारत की सांस्कृतिक जड़ें भाग 1, followed by another series of hours from 4 to 5 p.m. Class 6 to class 12 students can watch this program. The topic of discussion is going to be modus operandi of financial cybercrime, understanding digital arrest and online investment scams. Followed by another series of hours, that's Sahyog, from 5 to 5:30. The topic will be discussed is being resilient and hopeful during challenging times. And with this, let me just inform you that if you have not purchased class 4 and class 7 textbooks, They are available on Amazon, Flipkart, and also on our NCERT official website. So you have multiple options. You can purchase them from wherever you want. Thank you so much once again. Have a great day ahead. I'm Tanvi Khurana and I'll take a leave of you. Namaskar.